The Confederation of Aligned Worlds had made a grave miscalculation. For 3 centuries they had observed humanity from afar, cataloging their primitive wars, their inefficient resource management, and their inexplicable attachment to emotional decision-making. When Earth finally achieved faster-than-light travel, the Confederation's Council of 17 had been unanimous in their assessment. Humans were weak, disorganized, and utterly unprepared for the realities of galactic politics. Ambassador Thexnor of the Vrinthian Collective had presented the ultimatum with the casual indifference of someone swatting an insect. His crystalline form shimmered in Earth's artificial light as he delivered the message to the United Earth Government's Assembly. Your species will surrender 70% of your agricultural output, 50% of your manufacturing capacity, and provide labor crews for our mining operations in the Outer Rim, Thexnor had announced, his voice resonating through translation devices. In return, we will permit you to exist under our protection. You have 1 standard cycle to comply. The Confederation had done this before, hundreds of times across dozens of emerging species. The pattern was predictable: shock, desperate diplomacy, and ultimately submission. After all, what could 1 primitive species do against an alliance of 17 advanced civilizations, each commanding fleets that numbered in the thousands? But Secretary General Maria Santos had simply smiled, a human expression that Thexanor's xenopsychology briefing had described as a sign of pleasure or agreement. "We'll need time to consider your generous offer," she had said, her voice dripping with something the translator couldn't quite capture. That had been 6 months ago. The Confederation's patience had worn thin. Admiral Kresh of the Dronthari Empire, appointed to oversee the human compliance operation, had assembled a modest force. 50 warships, more than sufficient to blockade Earth and bombard a few population centers. The message would be clear: submit or face annihilation. His fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system, weapons hot and shields raised. Kresh's tactical display showed Earth's defenses exactly where intelligence had predicted them. A handful of orbital platforms, 32 primitive fusion drive vessels, and a scattering of automated satellites. Pitiful, Kresh muttered to his first officer. Target their orbital infrastructure. Prepare bombardment coordinates for their primary population centers. We'll give them 1 more chance to... The first missile salvo came from nowhere. 16 relativistic kill vehicles, accelerated to 98% of light speed, materialized from hiding spots in the asteroid belt. They had been coasting, cold and invisible, waiting. The physics were simple. At those velocities, even a small mass carried the kinetic energy of a nuclear weapon. 7 Confederation warships vanished in blooms of superheated plasma before Kresh could even process what was happening. Evasive maneuvers. He screamed, but humanity had learned. From centuries of warfare on Earth, the missiles hadn't been aimed at where the ships were. They'd been aimed at where they would be. 9 more vessels died in the next 40 seconds. Then Earth's primitive fusion drive ships revealed their true nature. Their hulls split open, deploying swarms of autonomous combat drones, thousands of them, each no larger than a human fist, each carrying enough antimatter to cripple a cruiser. They moved in coordinated patterns that would have made a Vrinthian mathematician weep, chaotic yet purposeful, like a school of fish or a murmuration of birds. The Confederation's energy shields, designed to deflect massive weapons fire, were useless against thousands of micro-impacts. The drones found seams, weak points, exhaust ports. They burrowed and detonated. Admiral Kresh watched in horror as his flagship's tactical display turned from green to red. 15 ships left, 10-7, retreat, he ordered. Full hyperspace withdrawal! But humanity had studied the Confederation's technology carefully during those 6 months. They had learned about hyperspace exit points, about the energy signatures that preceded a jump. Earth's orbital platforms, dismissed as primitive, revealed themselves as sophisticated sensor arrays that fed targeting data to weapons humanity had kept hidden. Mass driver rounds, launched from the moon's far side, intercepted 3 ships as they spooled up their drives. The vessels crumpled like aluminum cans. Only 4 ships escaped to carry word back to the Confederation. The Council of 17 convened an emergency session. Ambassador Thexnor, his crystalline body now showing stress fractures, presented the combat data with trembling appendages. This is impossible, Council Speaker Dravash declared. They had one cycle. How did they? 6 months. The human delegation's new ambassador, General James Chen, interrupted via holographic transmission. His image appeared in the center of the council chamber, projected across light years. You gave us 6 months. You showed us your ships, your weapons, your tactics. You told us exactly what you expected us to do. He leaned forward, and for the first time, the council members recognized what humanity's smile actually meant. We built our entire civilization on conflict, Chen continued. We fought wars for resources, for ideologies, for survival. We studied every battle, learned from every defeat. While you spent 3 centuries watching us from afar, you forgot the most important lesson. Predators recognize predators. And now? Dravash asked quietly. Now you leave us alone, Chen said simply. Spread the word across your confederation. Tell every member species, every vassal state, every client world humanity doesn't submit. We fight. And we're very, very good at it. The transmission ended. The Confederation did spread the word. Within a year, 3 of the 17 member civilizations had formally apologized to Earth. Within 5, the Council of 17 had become the Council of 12. The others had quietly withdrawn, unwilling to risk future conflict with a species that had turned the galaxy's expectations into weapons. And Earth? Humanity continued to reach outward, meeting new species with open hands and watchful eyes. They made allies among those who respected strength and friendship in equal measure. They built trade networks and cultural exchanges. But they never forgot the first lesson they had taught the galaxy. Underestimate humans at your own peril. The stars, it turned out, had been waiting for a species like humanity, not because they were the strongest or the smartest, but because they were the ones who refused to kneel. The end.